let's start with why. I would like to introduce and bring on the stage one very special person called Ryan James. And his goal is, and his task is big, to get us aligned around a big purpose all of us should share for this evening and maybe for the rest of our lives. He's a very special person because he has been traveling and working in more than 55 countries around the world on 6 continents, working and with indigenous cultures around the world and mentors. And he's learning and building a bridge between all those very wise people and this Western world. And maybe there's some inspiration from him. So let's invite him on the stage, but he's a little bit shy, so we need to play drums. Without drums, he doesn't move. So let's do a little bit of a Ryan James.
Aloha, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, Peter, for that beautiful introduction, and it's really nice. So, my name is Ryan. I'm from the United States, and I come here to just ask a couple questions about what it means to live in a village. So, we all know that it takes a village to raise a child. That's what Peter was helping us to see. You know, it takes a lot of people from diverse perspectives, from diverse ways of life, to actually enable that child to reach its highest expression and its highest potential. But my question for you here is, what is a village? Is a village just the people here? Is it a culture? Is it a place? Is it a settlement of buildings? Is it a farm? What is a village? Because for me, a village is a way of living. It's actually a way of life. And it can be really easy for us to think that a village is exclusively human. But all of us are wearing clothes here that didn't come from humans. They came from the earth. All of us have houses over our heads built from trees. All of us eat food that comes from the soil that's tended to by earthworms. So I want to just bring this concept, what's called a kinship worldview or a post-anthropocentric worldview, to our understanding about what it means to be a village. Because the anthropocentrism, and for those of you who don't know, that means caught in the human gaze, that humans are the ultimate expression of consciousness and evolution on this planet. This has led us into the ecological crises that we're in now, because we're only solving for what humans need. So in general, what I wanted to bring here today are just a couple questions. Can we include the more than human world in our understanding of a village? What plants do we eat every single day? Are they a part of the village? In Hawaii, they talk about that all of us are living inside of a canoe on island Earth. So why the Hawaiians are really important as a culture is they understand that Earth is an island. So we have to actually understand how to live on an island in this canoe together. And we didn't just pop out of nowhere here. You know, our ancestors, the ones who came before us, are part of the village. The future generations are also a part of the village. And when we talk about the 7th generational understanding, where a lot of people say, oh, I want to create something for 7 generations out in the future, we're looking right now about 5 to 10 years out in the future. That's not even 1 generation. And are we actually taking into consideration the generations that came before us? Another really curious 7th generational understanding that was taught to me by my Hawaiian teacher, he said, and this is for us who maybe don't have children or who maybe need a little bit more of a catalyst to move, is that whatever conditions you create today for the world, you're going to reincarnate into them 7 generations from now. So if we aren't actually solving things today for the future that we're going to live into, we're looking at this a little bit wrong. So when we talk about the village, we have to take care of the things that take care of us. If we don't take care of the water, we don't get to be here. If we don't take care of nature, we don't get to be here. Earth is not nested in the economy. The economy is nested within Earth. And all of this talk about regeneration, what this means is actually understanding what it means to live in a nested ecosystem. That if we don't take care of certain things, we don't get to get here. So if we continue to optimize things for humans exclusively, which is the opposite of a kinship worldview, we don't get to continue. So all of this talk is really important for implications for startups, corporations, investors, because to actually acknowledge the communities and the indigenous populations and all of the people who are involved in maintaining these ecosystems is at the core. And for startups to actually navigate this liminal space that we're in right now in this VUCA world, this world where everything is becoming more volatile, everything is becoming unknowable, the ecological catastrophes are cascading and moving a lot faster than we actually know. Our mindset and our worldview has to be adaptable and resilient to that, because anything that's rigid will break. So as far as this, with startups, you can actually begin to invest your money in biodiversity, not exclusively from a human landscape. And for investors, they get to actually allocate capital towards these businesses that are addressing these key issues from an expanded perspective. And for corporations, they get to actually imbue all of their employees with an organizational culture. But culture is a really important word here because the word comes from colere, which means to till. So if your culture is not connected with the earth and your purpose of your organization is not connected with earth, it's more like a yogurt culture. So in general, I would just want to close us up by thinking about these things circularly or non-linearly. Black Elk, who is a famous Lakota medicine man, says that the power of the world exists in circles. Everything is always looking to come back into a circle. Birds' nests are circles. The earth is a circle. Seasons are circular. And I'm not talking about the circular economy here. I'm talking about non-linearity. And in order for us to embrace nonlinearity, I want to give you a quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer, who some of you may have heard of. She wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. And she says, if time is a line, as most Western thinking presumes, then the solution to our problems are at some unknown place out in the future that we have yet to arrive to, and we have to solve for that. But as the indigenous worldview understands time as a circle, that means that all of our answers are already here, and we actually just have to remember how to work with them to enable us, as Peter's saying, to remember the future. Because as one of my favorite quotes says, the way we're responding to the crisis is a part of the crisis. And as Einstein often highlights, you cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. So if we're coming at this from strictly a Western mechanistic, reductionistic point of view, we need to incorporate an entire other way of knowing, an entire other mindset, an entire other worldview. And this is why it's really important to actually work with these mindsets and worldviews to imbue the startups, the investor network, and the corporations with an understanding of how to navigate these times that we're in, because they're very tricky times. And the oldest village, coincidentally enough, is in the Czech Republic, in the southeast. I'm going to butcher the name, Dolní Věštonice. It's about 25,000 years old, from the Paleolithic era. So I just find it really beautiful that as we talk about that it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to raise a startup, we're on the lands of the presence of one of the oldest villages that exists in the world. And this village can be a symbol for us that the past is not yet done. We actually get to learn how to remember the future together. And to do that, we have to bridge these mindsets and worldviews with the people who have been here for an extremely long time and those who protect 80% of the biodiversity on the planet. 5% of the population protects 80% of the world's biodiversity, and those are indigenous people. So that means 95% of us probably have something to learn from them, especially if we're going to invest in biodiversity and want to cultivate these spaces of nature. So I hope that this was helpful, and I'm really glad to be here and to be able to share this information from traveling and learning with all my elders around the world. And aloha, and thank you for coming to Soul of a Winner.